Welcome to Expose and Express Live. And here are your hosts, Jenny Umali, Burns Bayabo, Jill Sibenbrook, Rochi Disagan, and Daniela Nastasi. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Expose and Express Live. I am your host, Jenny Umali. I am a Reiki master and a life coach, and I am the founder of Purple Light Reiki Healing and Successful Self-Made Women. And I want to introduce to you my beautiful and amazing co-host, Burns, Jill, and Rochi. There you go. Oh my goodness. Welcome. It's so nice. It's so nice to be here with you again. And this is our second episode for our Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And without further ado, I want to introduce to you my amazing friend and a very wonderful and loving mother of three children, and of course, a wife. And she's a teacher. She is originally from London, England, and moved here in California with her family about around 8 years ago. And she has three boys, like I said, two in high school and one in college. And let me quote her education philosophy. And she's going to talk to you about that later, but I cannot wait. I am a fierce defender of the need for fun, differentiation, and learning environment that works for every child. So, you know what? Now I understand why she's an amazing mother. Just look at her. So, welcome, Yetta. Welcome.
Welcome, Yetta. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. It's been a long time, Yetta, and thank you so much for being here. I know that a lot of people who are watching here right now and who's going to watch the replay on our website, our YouTube channel, and of course the Facebook Live, they're gonna really have a lot of fun in learning because I truly believe in you and your capability with your patience, dedication. Oh my God, I really honor you because, you know, I love my teachers when I was in high school as well and when I was in grade school. And so I honor all the teachers right now, especially with all the things that's happening in this world. But we're not here to make them cry. Our episode for today is back to quote unquote homeschool. I understand that this is a very tough year for all of us, and we have all our own struggles and dilemma. And I cannot deny that a lot of my clients actually are working parents. And then you know what? There's a lot of like anxieties. It's way up high, especially those people are also working from home, which is not new anymore, right? And it some people in the beginning they would always like, oh, I wonder how it feels like to work from home. Now,
You're forced.
now you're working from home. Do you love it? And also, so a lot of my clients are asking me, how do we manage to take care of our family when, while we are also working to make a living and paying our bills? How can we provide quality time for our family and most especially for yourself? So these are just the questions that I receive, and I am grateful that Yetta is here today to talk about it, to help us understand and learn some tips. All right, so Yetta, this is going to be my first question. What is your biggest adjustment since the pandemic began?
I think, well, definitely for me, we had March 13th hit in schools, and we had 1 day to really prepare for teaching online. So that was huge. It was a massive learning curve for myself and all my peers. It was super tough. Suddenly it was like, you're going online on Monday. You need to learn how to do this. You've got to do it smoothly. You've got to be online. You've got to figure out all the problems that you're going to encounter and how to fix those. You've got to be lively in a different way. And definitely something that I remember the most. I'm very lucky in that in my school, we managed this week to have our children for 1 hour. We can have them for 1 hour once a week. So
Wow.
I saw my new class for the first time on Wednesday, and I had forgotten how much I, as a teacher, feed off my children. I get all my energy from them, and I get my excitement from them. And as a teacher, when you're teaching online, you don't get that. It's really super hard. It's super hard to keep going. And very often I have my high schooler was just saying, you can tell when it gets to the end of the day because the teachers are done. There's like no enthusiasm, no excitement. They're like just like, ugh. And they're fed up with that too.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Talking about your children, my follow-up question is that how do they take it? Like, what are their reactions now that it's a different story? No more socializing, right? And kids, they love to play in school. They want to go out with their friends. And now here's mom, being so disciplined about staying home. So what? Do they freak out? I was freaked out.
The one thing that I have found, and many of you may recognize this, is it hits different kids in different ways.
That's true.
So I had one kid who was a real follower, kind of, did all his homework, did everything right, blah, 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 blah. So, super driven and organized. I have another kid who's the opposite, who, is kind of fly by the seat of his pants, last minute kind of guy. And interestingly enough, the fly by the seat of the pants kind of last minute guy loved online learning, and the other one who was the rule follower hated it. And literally he just turned around halfway through, like maybe it got to May. I was just like, I'm done, not doing anything, I'm done with it. It sucks. I'm done checking out. So I was like, I didn't expect that. So it really does hit kids in different ways.
Wow. By the way, I love your accent as always.
Because although I'm English, I think the mix of living here, I now actually sound Australian.
I kind of do. I hear that now after you said that.
I know. I'm like, what's that? Because now I'm seeing myself being recorded. I'm like, what's going on?
So, quick question, Yette. So, since your kids are, you have 2 in high school and 1 in college, are they also doing like virtual homeschooling?
Yep, all of them are.
So how are you, since you're also at home, then how are you guys like managing, who's taking care of what, between you and your husband? Do you take turns?
It's super tricky, and very often it does involve texting from our, you do what you can, like texting from the room. Have you checked? Are you in a meeting? Can you go and check on them? Because very often I have found where I'm like, are you okay? Are you online? And then you actually peer at the screen and you're like, hang on, you're in a waiting room. And this has happened 3 times this week where my kid's like, I'm in a waiting room, it's fine. And I'm like, you've been in the waiting room 10 minutes, your school started 10 minutes. That's fine, right? I'm like, wrong Zoom link.
Oh my God.
So, how do you catch it all? And the answer is you don't. You can't catch it all. We're not superhuman. Most families these days, both parents are working, right?
Yes.
So, do the best you can and don't, apply a bit of self-parent love, first of all. Give yourself a pat on the back and just say, I'm doing great. And some things are going to fall by the wayside, and that's okay. Don't panic every time something goes wrong. And just take it one step at a time. How do I eat an elephant? One mouthful at a time.
That's good.
Yette, your husband is also working at home.
Yes. So he's always worked from home, so he hates it now. He's like,
he's not alone anymore. So do you guys have your own space? Like each of you have your own space, like when you go online?
I wish. So it's interesting. I was talking with my staff cohort and about our expectations for working online and getting children to work online. And they were like, obviously, they're going to have their own workspace, their own table, and then they're going to have their supplies there. And I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. I got 2 teenagers who share a room. They cannot have them zooming from the same space. So it is to know that, if you've got that situation, you're not alone. There will be a lot of people in that position. A good one that I'm advising my kids is I have given my kids all their supplies in a bag. And I'm like, wherever you go, if you're staying with dad this week and mom this week, take your bag with you. Make sure everyone's there. Don't take it out. One of your evening jobs will be in, this is first graders, second graders too. One of your evening jobs, make sure you put those pencil cases back in. Make sure you get everything together.
Yeah.
I'm going to need to help them with that. But that's one of the, ticks. I'm done for the day. I put everything back. It's next to me wherever I'm working. That might be the dining room. It might be the kitchen. It might be the bedroom. It could be anywhere.
Yeah, it's just like being in school also, pretty much.
Right. And just get into that habit and that muscle memory of always doing that.
That's a good tip, actually. That's very good. I'm sure our viewers can appreciate that.
Yeah, this is Jill. It's so nice to meet you. And I have a 3rd grader and a 5th grader, and we're all learning how to navigate the waters. And it's been hard, right? Yeah. I think, all the parents, like you said, just need to give themselves a pat on the back. And I've often told some friends of mine that if I had $1 for every time I heard my kids say, "Hey, Mom, I need your help," I would be because during the day, I'm like, I'm on my own Zoom calls, probably 3 to 5 Zoom calls. And so you make it work, though. They're learning in a new fashion. And like you said, they need to be organized. They need to understand, like, hey, like we're all like moving in little areas of the house to give each other space. And you're right. I do the same thing as far as, the supplies and making sure they have their stuff. And when they have to go back from one house to another to dad's, it's like, yeah, you need to be organized. And this is teaching our kids such good life skills. And is it different and hard? Yeah, it totally is.
Yeah.
But when they go back to school, it's going to be like, oh, this is easy.
Definitely.
So, but at the same time, we're trying to, show our kids grace and give ourselves grace. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of discipline that we're doing that the teachers used to do, right? So how do you, like as a teacher, reinforce that discipline, reinforce that that sense of urgency, that sense of, hey, these are assignments, these are our tasks for the day. How do you relay that onto your students?
Yes, and that's it's such a good question, and it's one I had a lot at the end of the last school year. How do I motivate my kids? How do I, they've had enough. Right. They're like, nope, I'm not doing it today. How do I keep them motivated? And it's tricky. And I would say this is where, and speaking to my school parents this week, I said this has become much more of a partnership between us now.
Oh, right.
The first thing you need to do really is always go to your teacher, to your child's teacher, and say, this is a problem, this is happening, this is what you might see. And it might be something that he or she is actually seeing on the Zoom calls in class or in work that they're receiving. And they'll be like, okay, great. I was wondering, I was getting this kind of response, or, no eye contact, or avoiding the screen. I get a lot of these.
She won't call on me if I'm not in the screen.
That's funny.
That's so funny.
So it is. Motivation is super tricky, and it is one of those executive functioning skills that we are still developing as adults. I often say to my own children and my school children, no one's perfect at everything. So I'm always losing my phone and my keys. My husband always says, "Where's my fill in the blank?" That's my where's my phone? Where's my keys? And so I just tell my children, as I try and fix that, I put a whistle. I can whistle. My keys make a noise. I ping my phone. I try and have a place. So I set up the support structures for me to really help me do that. And that's something that we would teach in class, definitely in second grade, which is what I teach. A lot of children come in and they're fresh, from first grade, and they'll be like, I need scissors, I need a pencil. I'll be like, what are you going to do about that? I'm like, no, what do you think? Where do you think? Can you remember where I stored the scissors? Do you need to go and get them? And things like that. So those skills are definitely being passed on to parents, as well as those other skills. It is a great opportunity to learn those life skills. How do I deal with frustration when my Zoom call fails and I can't get back on again? How do I deal with the confusion of not knowing what is required of the work? I don't understand it. I'm reading it. I don't get it. I'm fed up. So these are great moments for our children to actually grow themselves. I think I've completely forgotten your original comment, which was motivation.
Motivation and discipline.
But I would say contact your teacher. If there is a child who needs motivation, definitely for me, I would do some one-to-one check-ins. And even just as a group, if I know that child is struggling to stay focused, to stay motivated, I would check in with them more time. Like, Jenny, did you get that? Jenny, do you know? Tell me that. What do you think you're going to do? Keep that partnership going. And your teacher's there, and unfortunately, as is the nature of the beast, I'm at home, so I'm online all the time. I'm like, I wouldn't volunteer that for all teachers, but just contact them, let them know, work it through together, and also most importantly, don't let it overwhelm you and your child. Don't let that just step by step. How are we going to problem solve this? Be that. Person who's going to really show the child, hey, this is tricky. And maybe what I think is lovely about developing your relationship with your child, it's not to say mine's never perfect with my children, but it's showing your own vulnerability and showing that